In the shadowy world of wartime espionage, one woman's pillow talk changed the course of history. Her name was Betty Pack, and her bedroom was her battlefield. As the storm clouds of World War II gathered over Europe, a young American woman with striking looks and a brilliant mind caught the eye of British intelligence. Betty Pack, born Amy Elizabeth Thorpe, was about to embark on a journey that would make her one of the most successful spies of the 20th century. Raised in the world of diplomacy, Betty had a taste for adventure and a knack for languages. By her early 20s, she was already married to a British diplomat and had begun dabbling in espionage. But it was when she caught the attention of MI6 that her true calling emerged. Betty's weapon of choice? Seduction. Her targets? High-ranking diplomats and officials across Europe. Her mission? To extract vital intelligence that could turn the tide of the war. And she was astonishingly good at it. In the gilded salons of Paris and the smoky backrooms of Washington, D.C., Betty wove her web of intrigue. She didn't just collect pillow talk. She orchestrated elaborate schemes to access top-secret documents. One of her most daring exploits took place in the Vichy French embassy in Washington. Late one night, Betty distracted the night watchman while her team cracked the embassy safe. Inside were the naval codes that would help the Allies break the Axis powers' encryption systems. This information proved crucial in the invasion of North Africa, saving countless Allied lives. But Betty's most significant conquest was perhaps her seduction of Charles Bruce, a senior Vichy French official. Their passionate affair not only yielded valuable intelligence, but also turned Bruce into a willing collaborator for the Allied cause. Yet, Betty was more than just a seductress. She was a master of psychology, able to read people and situations with uncanny accuracy. She knew when to play the role of the innocent American girl, the sophisticated European lady, or the passionate lover. Each persona was a carefully crafted tool in her espionage arsenal. Her handler at MI6, Desmond Bristow, once said of her, "She was a very brave woman, and she joined the Secret Service for the same reason that young men join the army, to do her bit for the war effort." Betty's work wasn't without personal cost. Her marriages crumbled, and she lived with the constant threat of exposure. Yet she persevered, driven by a deep-seated patriotism and a thrill for the game of espionage. As the war drew to a close, Betty's role began to shift. She found herself falling genuinely in love with Charles Bruce, the man she had initially seduced for information. In a twist of fate, they married after the war and settled in France, leaving behind the world of espionage. But the secrets Betty uncovered during her years as a spy continued to shape the post-war world. The intelligence she gathered helped the Allies understand the inner workings of the Vichy regime and contributed to the successful prosecution of war criminals. Betty Pack's story remained classified for decades after the war. It wasn't until the 1960s that her exploits began to come to light, revealing the extent of her influence on the course of World War II. Today, we remember Betty Pack not just as a femme fatale, but as a patriot who used every tool at her disposal to fight for freedom. Her legacy reminds us that in the world of espionage, the most powerful weapon is often a brilliant mind coupled with unwavering courage. In the annals of history, few have wielded the power of seduction with such deadly effectiveness. Betty Pack's diplomatic pillow talk didn't just break hearts, it broke codes, toppled regimes, and helped win a war. She was living proof that in the right hands, charm can be as potent as any weapon of war. As we reflect on Betty Pack's extraordinary life, we're left with a tantalizing question. In the high-stakes game of international espionage, how many world-changing secrets have been whispered in the dark?